welcome back to another episode of Get 'Em Together Garage. Today we're going to be working on one of our newer additions to the vehicle family. This is our 65 Chevy C10 long bed. It was originally a Nevada car, and well, she wasn't that bad per se, but she was scaly, but not bad. But we'll get into more of the history of the vehicle here soon. And well, what we're going to do today is some maintenance in some spots that needs it, like an oil change or 710 change per se. We're going to do some gear lube in the tranny, make sure it has some fluid, because, well, yeah, never checked it. Same with the rear end, never checked it. Are we gonna? We'll see. But yeah, this is a different kind of project. First time doing one of these bad boys. Yeah, it was fun. Still is. We'll go do a little rock around here in a minute, but yeah, hang tight. You'll be in for a treats today. Yep. Grab your soda cans. Let's go. All right. So we got this car, or this truck, about a year ago-ish, so yeah. Fall of 20, might have been 2020. 2021 or 2020. But you can see she's very patinaed, aged. You know, age usually comes better with beauty, usually. But this thing here, she came out honestly kind of fun. It's neat. Everything we've done here. 90% of the paint's original, give or take. Some spots, because, well, it was repainted once before. You guys can kind of see. There was that maroon red, and then somebody sprayed it, and now it has like a metallic-ish look to it, and other stuff. But I mean, it looks sinister. Really bad. To the bone, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we've done basically a frame off on this. I'll show you some more stuff in between. I have some pictures of what we've done. But let's get to some good stuff. Like we pretty much bought. We wanted to keep this thing about as original looking as we got it, and where we got to it from was pretty much everything other than the outside of the truck. This, believe it or not, is off of a 2014 to 2019 old body style new Silverado. I actually got it for free. We did some minor work to it by trimming up the backside over here. We shortened the frame by probably about a foot, actually. And we have one of the best people we know for interiors help us put this back together to shorten it, so that way it blends together pretty nicely. This toolbox we actually got because I seen a truck at a car show one time, and I really liked what they did with the toolbox and a tonneau cover, so that way you can either unlock it and you can still put stuff inside, like say chairs or whatever. Chairs, if you have a bag of goodies like drinks or food, you can just store it in here and not have to worry about it sliding around in the bed. So we got the toolbox actually for free too by somebody my dad knows of, a family member. So we got that. So then over here, we'll go into the bedside real quick, into the bed, show what we got on the outsiders. Still opens up like so. There's that, and all you do is literally unhook, fold back, fold back. And then you can still use the original latches that came with it, which I ain't gonna do that right now. But that's the whole point of it. So that way, if we have to store more stuff in here, if we go on longer trips with us, we can still have stuff in here and not have to worry about anything flying out. But we did started off with the whole bed here too, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to finish showing what we did for the tonneau cover, because everything was free, so we made it work. So what I did was actually went to Lowe's. Actually has these square channels, inch by almost a half inch to close to a half inch. But they had this U channel that I was trying to plan up of what would work, and this isn't bolted in or anything. It's got these C-clamps, and we riveted a piece of aluminum here to be able to have the tonneau cover clamped down to it, so that way it won't fly off. We did it on both corners, or all four corners of it. So we did that, and it actually ended up working out really well. And knock on wood, no problems. I don't think we really took to any car shows this past summer with the tonneau cover and box in place, but we actually just finished this up like fall last year. But to the bed, actually, now we actually, for us having the tools already, it ended up being cheaper to buy the wood and make the slabs ourselves, just because we already had the tools and we could save a couple $100 too. And this is all, I think we used, I don't remember what kind of wood we used. I think we used pine, but I could be wrong, or it's oak, one of the two. I'm going to say pine probably. Because honestly, it's never going to be seeing massive salt weather ever with us owning it. So when we got this, it was complete apart. Not all the wood was rotted out. All the strips were all rotted. So I blew the bed apart. That was like one of the first things I did on this truck. While my dad actually did, he got the truck physically able to drive back and forth at his work. So I was able to, once he got it driving and everything, we took it to the house and I took it all back apart again, because that's just what I do. I wanted to save as much patina as I could, try to blend everything in, very little mud work, if any, if possible. Yeah, since we had an 8-foot bed, we had to get 10-foot slabs of wood and all that. And then I bought the stainless steel bed strips and hardware. That way nothing will rust and it'll stay shiny, because we'll never put anything in here other than clothes bags. Oh, they're in a hurry. Okay. So the bed was a little rotted out on the inside in some spots, which you can tell where they were at times, but that stuff I didn't want to worry about. This side, unfortunately, was all rotted out a bit, so I had to make a new patch to go in, and I pretty much had my dad make it. He was a 90-degree bend on the bottom for about an inch, and then I kind of cut where it had to be for the curves to be right. Like up in here, way the square notches had to be for the carriage bolts. So that had to be made. I patched it in right about here, and I didn't add any mud. It turned out pretty straight enough. Can't really tell. And I took some reds, some browns, and yeah, reds and browns, different shades of them, and I just kind of misted it on and kind of made stuff actually flow together. Like, you won't really tell at a quick glance. I had to make this whole intersection that was on the inside of here, and then I also had to make this part of the section right here. I made that out of square tubing, or square stock, that was about an inch by an inch, and I had to shorten it by an 1/8 inch just to make it work good enough to fit in here, and I didn't add any mud. So that's how that turned out, and the bed actually turned out wonderful. I love the way it looks. And we took some chain also, in case anybody's wondering, just to give it like a beat look, which I've seen other people do it, and it looks pretty good. And they took some chain and just kind of whacked the closer side of the bed here, and just to make it look like it was a work truck at times, or it was used, and kind of gives it a neat little flow, and it turned out really nice. Let me close this up. Well, we'll try to show you a little bit underneath too. Close this back up. Try to get you a better view of the bottom side. needed. So now, underneath this behemoth, I pretty much did a whole frame off under here. I ground just about every square inch of this whole frame down. Bought new brackets as needed, and we got a new exhaust, and we also put it on airbags if you can't see it over there, which actually this is going to be one of those things I'm going to have to tear down eventually to try to fix. I'm not sure if we can get to that in this video yet, but we got to do other maintenance things on this vehicle. But the whole exhaust is piped exhaust. This was a little skeptical the way that things were handled, but just the way pipes were made, some stuff didn't line up, so we had to get extra, and it was a little confusing back and forth. But I put rolled 4-inch tips on this that are about, I think, 18 inches long, because I really like the way that they look. I mean, it just kind of stands out to you when you're looking at it. It's like basically it's stealth mode, but it's not, and it's just how everything works. But right there is our air tank that we got. We bought a kit called Air Slam It, and it was a kit off of Amazon, and it was like $1,200. So, and it came with all the hardware you needed, lines, anything you could think of. And we bought the kit, and it turned out being not too bad of a kit. The hardest part was getting everything wired. So I'll show you the pumps on the other side here in a minute, and all the valves and how everything works, kind of. But the wheels are American Racing wheels, US, or not American Racing, US wheel. And I honestly like the way that the smooth steelies look. It gives it their rat rod look without being too much. You know what I mean? And unfortunately for this tire, also was they quit making this tire this year for some reason. It's a Federal Super Street, and this is like a random size tire that is for those who run 16-inch tires and they're using a 275/60/16. This is about as close as of a tire you're going to get to that size. So I like the way that they fit. I have one on my charcoal Camaro, which we'll go over in another video. This is a 255/55/17. And for the fronts, I went a little bit smaller of a tire. I did a 255/50/17. And everything's good. I have no rubbing anywhere when the truck's completely lowered down. Yeah, pretty much just, yeah, that's that. For the suspension, I'll show you more stuff later, but stuff I still got to do on the outer body is I got to still fix these, blend them in so you don't really notice that they were there. And I got to fix a little bit of the rust here. We already did cab corners on this, so you didn't notice it as much, with very little mud that we needed. We also did rockers. I believe we did rockers too, but we'll go over that a little bit more in a little bit. But yeah, other than that, the truck was honestly really solid. Fenders, all that. Well, let's go over the interior. I can show you guys that. Which, like I said before, this is a truck that came from Nevada, and they had a camper in the back of it. So, yeah, they towed a camper from Nevada to here, and that's why it has the 2 fuel doors on the back over here. And they used it as a camper, and they drove it all the way from Nevada to here, and the truck sat here for 25 years. And we ended up getting it about a year ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago fall. And this door also needs repaired here. A little bit of weight reduction there and there, and fix that. But yeah, car came from Nevada and all that. I fixed up the front bumper. I bought a new rear bumper. I put the halo lights in, which the truck honestly looks really sweet with the lights on and the sun setting. It's a whole different mood. But roof wasn't rotted out, just surface rust and patina. Sorry, wrong idea. But yeah, bad spots on this aren't really that bad. But into the interior now, we still need to finish doing the doors. We just haven't gotten to them yet because we've been wanting to drive it and we just didn't get time to finish it yet. But we will this summer-ish. You'll see it on the channel. But we bought carpet from, I forget, it's a custom carpet company. They're like one of the bigger ones out there. But we bought that. We just didn't really blend in anything here yet. We still have the original VIN. It's underneath of this. I made custom panels and stuff for the carpet to make everything fit. Because this literally just lays over top. It's a 3-speed with a granny gear, which it used to be a column shifter. So somebody converted from a 6-cylinder to a V8, and they did from the column shift, which it was a 3-speed on the column, something like that. But now it's the 4-speed with the 3-speed with the granny gear, and it's got 410s in it. But everything's working good. I gotta check the oil on that, and I'll tell you guys some more about the shifter and when I get it out again. But the seat we had custom made by the guy who did the tonneau cover here. He recovered everything. It was like a, honestly I don't remember, I think it was like a maroon red or something on it, but it was nasty, and we wanted to give it like an updated feel to match the carpet. And since it was the color of the truck, we got some of the maroon that was in here, and we had the light gray pinstripe to kind of make everything pop, and it turned out really nice. And he also did the visors too for us because it was cheaper than buying them. So we also did, or my dad got everything painted at his work on the inside here, so that way we can get the whole interior in. We put sound deadener underneath the mat, kind of quiet things down, but it's still loud because it's an old car. But yeah, that should be a little hint for something, if you know what I mean. Yeah, all the lights and everything work, key or ignition and everything. It's all fun. High beam, but it's all original in here. Well, not original, but original metal. Got everything for the glove box, the new cardboard. Heat works more than it should because it never stops running. I guess it's just something these do. We had new glass put in the front and back, I believe. Yep. But yeah, we had a new horn put in. We fixed the turn signals. There's a bunch of stuff that LMC sells that will allow you to fix everything in that. So LMC was one of the biggest things that helped us with this truck. Like, I kid you not, they had everything just about that we needed. Only thing I still got to do is fix the speedometer, but who needs that? Because everything I drive never goes over the speed limit, so that's not even a priority anymore. So we're just gonna pretend like that ain't broken, because you only know a vehicle when you actually know a vehicle and you know how fast you're going. So I mean, once you are in it, you become one with the vehicle. So now for all the parts that you've been waiting for, probably not. Because why would we? I mean, if I can even get it open, that'd be nice. Ready? Whoosh! Look at that! Yeah, you'll get tetanus underneath this hood too. Just saying. So be aware. So this is a, what did they say? It was not a 327. It's the 283 motor, small block. That's what we found out so far. But if I'm wrong, let me know, because we tried running the VIN for the motor on the front and the back, and it kind of led to dead ends because we weren't really sure. But supposedly this marking can lead to something of the engine being a 383 or a 283, but we weren't sure. But we also checked the inside of the valve covers. Everything looked really clean, like somebody had it rebuilt a long time ago. But it ended up being, I mean, it's clean, it sounds good, runs really nice. So But all in all, we ended up doing a front disc brake conversion, as you can see here, this conjunction. But we also had to put a new water pump on, had to buy some pulleys for stuff that wasn't on this truck originally. But we ended up doing a power steering conversion or add-on to it, so that way it's easier to steer this behemoth of a steering wheel in there with the flat tires. So we did the power steering. I had to buy a bracket on Amazon. A lot of the things I bought on Amazon for this thing, because they had the best price and you can find it easier than trying to look on a website somewhere. For some reason, I don't know how that worked, but it did. So yeah, I ended up buying aluminum pulley. I think I bought those off of actually Amazon too, or Summit, one of the two. But I had to buy a double groove pulley so that way I can let it fit the pulley on the crank, because the crank pulleys are different for 283 from a 350, so you have to get a stubbier pulley. And I had to put the alternator on the other side of the engine over here. Also had to get a double groove pulley in case anybody's doing this themselves. And just pretty much reversing the brackets from this side of the water pump to this side. And I had to make a bracket because I thought that Brothers Trucks made one, but it was still for this side, and they said it was for the other side, but I ended up not doing that. But I ended up having to make that bracket by hand with the 1/4 inch steel that I had of another bracket. So I had to bend that, mold that, and cut it to make it work and notch it. And then I ended up getting everything to work for that, luckily. And we did a conversion on the alternator, so that way it's only the single wire now that you need, instead of having the dual points thing that these usually have on it. And for the dual wire for the coil that was on here, you don't need any of that. We switched to an HEI because it's a lot less to deal with whenever you have to start it up. That was actually bought from AutoZone, so you can get those there, and they're relatively cheap. I put new plugs and boots on here. The ones for the 65 C10 boots, or the wires, they're just way too long. You'll just be burning wires left to right over here if you put those in here, unless you zip tie them to the other side of the engine. That's pretty much about it. But the headers here, they're stainless steel off of Amazon also. They were like $150, not even $100 for a set of long tube headers. And we had a notch a little bit right here, unless I think somebody might have actually already notched it and we just kind of re-cleaned up. But we had a notch over here too, which for $100 I wouldn't mind giving these a little ding, but my dad put it in, so that's the way we did it. And it works just as fine either way. Less or more airflow with the headers not being knocked in, but that's that. And yeah, the whole stainless steel exhaust is on there. We upgraded, I think this actually had the original, I forget if that has the original oil filter set up or not, but they were still like the newer engines today. But as you can also see on the sticker now, it's actually a Holley Sniper on here. And I kid you not, comparing this to the Quadrajet that was originally on here, that Quadrajet pretty much had its last life. It was on its last limb. So put that there. But there's the main gem of this vehicle. All fuel injection is 60 psi for the fuel pressure and everything like that. One turn of the key, no throttle hitting or anything. This thing will start up on a dime, usually. Like, it starts up way better than any of the other cars giving it gas. Like, there's none of that to do with this. You just turn the key, wait 10 seconds, and it spurts the fuel in, and it starts right up like that. Like, no issues at all. We have had this thing on the highway a couple times, and it runs great. Yeah, I'll put in some of the first startups that we have for this so you guys can see what we did. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much about it for that. Here's the relays for all the fuel pumps, or not, well, a fuel pump, I think, and the airbag setup. But that's pretty much it for this. Let's go and take it for a ride now, and you guys can see what it's all about. Okay, let's do this. Seatbelt first. Go safety first. Just turn the key on. Wait for everything to load up. Once it stops, just like that. It's wonderful. We've had this thing started in the cold and it's mind blowing. I forgot one thing. And the e-brake works amazing too. Header patter, let's skedaddle, shall we? Here we go. We'll be doing some crazy stuff here. You'll see. Just kidding, you're not really gonna see anything crazy, just typical that I do. Airbags, honestly, it makes it drive right like it is literally on clouds. You can lift them up higher, you can keep them down lower, you can do whatever you really want. But and it's air adjustment on demand pretty much. So you can adjust your ride height however you want. You can lift it all the way up for, you know, we're going four-wheeling mode. We can drop it all the way down, like, you know, or low riding mode, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't see notch the frame or anything like that, so that way if the bags ever went out per se, we can at least be able to drive it or have it at least mobile till we have to get somewhere, kind of deal. So we were thinking ahead on that. We don't want to completely cut up the car for no reason if we don't have to. So that's why we just kind of let the airbags in, didn't see notch nothing, didn't cut no bump stops, no nothing. We left all the bump stops in, so that way we can get around if we had to. I honestly love driving this thing. Everybody loves looking at this. It's really fun. I never thought I'd actually have anything like this to be driving, but we thought we were lucky and found this 2 years ago, like I said, and we had to buy it. I mean, when they're up, people are on them like flies on garbage, pretty much. We make it simple, say that. But it's one hell of a truck. Yeah, we didn't do the engine work today. It purrs like a kitten. It's a whole different world from an old Quadrajet to Holly Sniper. This thing's amazing, honestly. I love this thing. The granny gear in this thing, you don't even need give it any gas, it just goes. But around city driving, you don't need it unless you're on a steep hill. Forget how to drive stick. Oops. I didn't install it though, so that's a plus. But we're gonna stop into the good old Advanced and see what they got for me today. Because I'm always here. Doesn't matter when, I'm always here though.
best part about doing this, I'm probably crooked as hell. Oops. Best part, just drop it down, drop it like it's hot. Alright, I'm gonna go and grab some stuff I need for this and I'll be back. Okay. Let's get at her. Muffler for the piped exhaust is a Street Pro. In case anybody's wondering what exhaust or mufflers that come with the piped exhaust, and they're the chamber muffler that they provide with the X pipes. So it's not obnoxiously loud, but it's like tameable. It's hard to explain, like it's manageable if you're taking long rides, and it's not going to be a lot of droning. At least I haven't experienced that. The whole thing down there tells you exactly what's going on. It tells you RPM, engine temp, air fuel mixture,